So, I got a really interesting comment a few days ago. Should I be worried? Which I assume is in worrying about the Splatoon 3 development situation. Originally, I was going to give this comment a short little response until I realized, wait, maybe there's more people that need to hear this besides this one dude. So, do I personally think you guys, the average Splatoon players, should be worried about Splatoon 3's development? In my opinion, no. I think there's obviously a few things to be worried about, and we'll get into those. But in all, no, I think Splatoon 3 will inevitably be the best Splatoon ever made, but there absolutely are issues that need to be dealt with. We should start with just how much of Splatoon 3 we've seen over the last year and 4 months, which is really not a lot. We've seen 3 new multiplayer stages and 1 old one new salmon run map, and some new bosses, but what looks to be a really good campaign. It doesn't look like there's going to be any issues with the campaign. It looks freaking great. And that should make everyone happy, but the issues I keep getting sidetracked on, sorry about that, but the multiplayer. So with Splatoon 2, there were only 6 new available maps at launch, which really was not enough, especially when you consider that you can only play on 2 for 2 hours at a time. There were also old maps that came back from Splatoon 1 to 2, but they weren't like true new experiences that people were looking for. Sure, the way you played on these maps changed a little bit because of the new meta adjustments, new specials, at launch, only 1 new weapon class. But from what we've seen of Splatoon 3 with returning maps, it looks like Nintendo's handling it carefully, and they're just not throwing a ton of old maps in to fill up the amount of stages that they need to fill up. Though we definitely haven't seen all of the returning maps that are coming back, the silence on the subject is speaking for it. Returning maps won't be a big feature, they're just treating it like something that's kinda just happening. Nothing special, which, unless the maps we're getting back are redesigned, is how they should be treated. If I had to say what a safe number for old maps to bring back would be, I'd say 5, tops. Majority being Splatoon 1 maps that weren't brought back into 2, and maybe 1 map from Splatoon 2, but that's all I really have to say on returning maps. I think I've already spoke well more than enough on returning maps in previous videos, so let's finish up on new maps though. Splatoon 3's got a strong start at revealing new maps. We've seen 3 already, 2 look really unique, 1's a little bit of a hit or miss, but still looks like a lot of fun to play on. Obviously, we're going to get a Splatoon 3 Direct in the future, and I bet we'll see a lot more maps, but I think if Nintendo really wants to hit the ground running with stages, then 8 to 10 maps is a good place to start. Optimally 10 though. Splatoon 3 has had the most development time out of any Splatoon game so far, which is a really good thing to see. Development time has always been an issue with previous Splatoon games. 1 and 2 were both rushed, but 3 has had almost 3 years of development time, that we know of, and I mean at minimum 3. Although it wouldn't be too out of left field to see that Splatoon 3 was in super early development phase while we were nearing the Final Fest. Of course, the Splatoon team had most of their resources at the time devoted to Animal Crossing, but either way, there's been so much more time spent on Splatoon 3 than either of the other Splatoon games, as well as the fact that Splatoon 3 was definitely delayed another 5 weeks to bring it back from July to September, because you don't just switch a game with a release date to a month with nothing planned when there's already a game that's quote-unquote almost ready enough to fill that empty July slot. Splatoon 3 was definitely planned for July at first and got pushed back to give it more development time. With only 5 weeks being added to development time, it's easy to see that the only thing that can be done in 5 weeks is just polishing the game more. So 5 more weeks to work out any glitches, and you can also take that extra time you have to add more features to the game. Like small features like weapons, work on new maps, more gear, all sorts of things like that. While Nintendo's had tons of time to show us new stuff over the time between reveal and where we are now, but we see new bits of Splatoon 3 every other day on Twitter, and that inevitable Splatoon 3 Direct that is most likely coming in late July, early August, is only bound to fill in more of the missing gaps. The only super important things we have left to see that haven't gotten any confirmation yet are new ranked modes, Splatfests, and how long the game is actually going to get support from Nintendo for. When Nintendo finally shows us all these things, there's not going to be any real reason to worry, and there's really not a reason to worry yet. We could get a drop on Twitter about one of these things, or we could see it in a Direct. It's really if we don't see those things in a Direct or Splatoon Twitter that would be cause for concern. But for now, us Splatoon fans at least, we should have nothing to worry about. The game will most likely come out with some missing features, and that's fine. Nintendo will have us covered with enough stuff to do. And while the game gets more updates, any of those holes Nintendo has left will get fixed and get done. So, no, for us Splatoon fans, we've got nothing to worry about. We're in good hands. It's more the people that have never played Splatoon before that are having Splatoon fans try to convince them to get the game that are going to be the ones having issues here. Not us, though. But anyways, that is it from me. How are you guys feeling about Splatoon 3 as of now? Do you feel good about it? Do you care that it kinda looks like Splatoon 2? Let me know in the comments. I always read them. Alright gamers, see ya.